F you, my boys. Biological warfare here. Sebastian, we have this. Did I just tab this up? Okay.
India boasts one of the world's India.
We will watch this. I'm not locking down again. Yeah, I don't think the world is going to allow um lockdowns again, right? I think a lot of and I know we joked around saying like let's bomb or nuke China. It's not the people. I think most sane people we could sit back and agree that the people in these countries in China and India, South Africa and America, the people there are good people. It's the government and the people who are trying to govern and control that do some really dark stuff. Xi Jinping is a jumping clown. Can you share your mother's concerny recipe? What is a concerny? And trust me, you don't want none of my mom's cooking. You want all of Lowe's recipes. I think I'm ready for another lockdown. I don't want another lockdown. It was too much power trip, too much power given to the government, and too many small businesses where people worked their whole lives to start a restaurant, to start a business that were just shut down and called non-essential workers. They were non-essential. You know how like mentally fucked up that is to work your entire life, bring out something to the community, and your government shut it down because you're a non-essential worker? Like, fuck off. Okay, Russia just crushed China's economy. Russia saw that China was going to create or release another virus, and they said, we're going to crush you.
Russia and China's relationship is falling apart. In a shocking move, Russia and China's relationship is falling apart. In a shocking move, Russia's imposed a staggering 55% tariff on Chinese goods. This decision is more than just a number. It's a shockwave shaking the very foundations of global trade. But why would Russia, seemingly a close ally of China, take such a drastic step against a friend?
That is kind of crazy because with BRICS, you have, what is it, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That's the main body of BRICS. They're supposed to be working together. So this actually kind of makes me wonder, is BRICS actually going to pan out? Bro, are you watching and reacting? Do you know what this is, copyright or not?
And why now? Answering this question will
No
give us
idea.
a head start in understanding what could be the first in a series of chaotic decisions by Putin. In this video, we'll peel back the layers of this story for you, uncover the motivations, the immediate economic impacts, and the far-reaching consequences of this bold tariff. By the end of it, you'll have a deeper understanding of how these international maneuvers play out on the world stage and affect our everyday lives. As we always say, there are no permanent friends or enemies in geopolitics. There are just permanent interests, and this situation between Moscow and Beijing truly reaffirms that. Your support for our content is always very much appreciated, especially when we have CCP bots and the algorithm heavily suppressing our reach every time. We take pride in bringing you uncensored, impartial news, as we would hope any channel would.
Does this work
So
for you
these
guys?
bans and strikes that we've been receiving are quite shocking. Please.
I have an idea. What if the U.S. imposed a 150% tariff on countries who don't impose 100% on China? That would cause World War III. I don't think that would be the best course of action.
Keep liking and sharing our content, as that does wonders for us.
I think this is going to sound crazy, and I don't know how true the statement I'm about to say is, because I'm trying to go back to sports, because ultimately you're going to have one winner, you're going to have hierarchies, you're going to have all of this, but also in business is not always like sport, where there's not just a necessarily a linear first place and second place kind of thing. I guess what I'm trying to say is we can have a world where all these countries kind of win. Some will obviously have more power than others, and the governments that have ego are going to want more power and don't want to be eighth. They want to be the third, country. So I get that there's always going to be some type of animosity and vitriol in the world, but I think hell no, I don't think Indians read Hindi subtitles. Okay, so I'll take that off. I think there's a chance where we can all win and not go at each other, right? Like some countries are naturally, with their cultures and the people there, they're going to make better products in certain countries, and maybe like some areas are more like technologically advanced while others are more architecturally advanced, and we should be able to learn and grow from both of them.
First, let's go over the details of the tariffs before we get into how Russia will pay for this big blunder. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is this 55% tariff all about? A tariff, simply put, is a tax imposed by a government on imported goods. In this case, Russia's decided to place a 55% tariff on Chinese furniture parts. They've done this by reclassifying sliding rail parts used in Chinese furniture and categorizing them alongside furniture parts with bearings, which then attracts a 55.65% tariff. This means that importing these furniture parts into Russia from China is now vastly more expensive than before.
I don't know if Russia actually imposes this or if they're just if they're threatening this. Whenever I hear tariffs, and I think this is a healthy approach whenever you hear tariffs, especially when you hear it from the government and politicians, it's just leverage. It's just a negotiating word. They're saying, "Oh, we're going to do a tariff. How are you going to respond? What are you going to do? What are you going to offer us so that we don't have to do this tariff? Because we agree, the 55% tariff, that's a big tariff. So what are you going to do to help us?" That's how, whenever I think of tariffs, because it's just business. It's negotiations back and forth, back and forth. That's what I think, right? They're saying, "Hey, if we will do this unless something comes against the table." You know what I mean? Russia also wants to grow their manufacturing industry. Yeah, because Russia's probably looking over at India. And I genuinely believe this. I think Russia's probably looking at India and seeing the growth of their pharmaceutical industry, the automotive industry, their manufacturing and distribution industry. And they see India is growing at exponential rates with Modi leading it. They're like, yo, we kind of need to do the same thing because look how big Russia is. Russia should be one of the world's superpowers, and it feels like it's slowly losing that grip. They also know that China can't be trusted. Excuse me. They also know that China can't be trusted. Probably. I want that silver play button in your setup, brother. That is legitimately like a life goal. I had two goals in life. One of them's achieved. You guys see the rings back there? Fortunately, your boy could say, and not many people could say this, I am a 3-time world champion. Beat dudes from France, beat dudes from Portugal, beat dudes in Germany with paintball, right? So when it comes to paintball, I can get it. But 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I'm a YouTube baby. I grew up on YouTube. That is a big, big button. I will want to pay taxes on tariffs, not on income. Yeah, but once more, when we think of tariffs, we're going to go back to this full circle. We're going to go full circle. It's the weave. Whenever you hit tariffs, just think negotiations. I will impose a 55% tariff. What are you going to do for us so that I don't have to impose this?
World is that this tariff has not been universal, but has been levied specifically against Chinese goods only. Similar furniture parts from European countries are subject to tariffs of no higher than 10%.
This little spot is Russian. This is Russia right here. That seems very weird.
And yet Chinese exporters are being required to pay almost 6 times that amount. This significant
Breaking news, people of PAK are rebelling against Pakistan, are saying merge with India.
Difference in tariff rates has raised questions.
Looks like Pakistan's coming back to the motherland.
And concerns among industry insiders about the fairness and impact of the new tariff on Chinese imports. More than that, it's publicly revealed the cracks in the Sino-Russian relations, exposing their seemingly perfect relationship as a sham. The first question to perhaps ask amidst all this is, why are tariffs being imposed in the first place? In general, when a country imposes a tariff, it raises the cost of imported goods. This move is typically aimed at protecting domestic industries by making imported goods more expensive and less competitive compared to locally produced items. In the case of Russia, the government allegedly
Oh, there are also tariffs on esports? I don't think there's tariffs on esports yet.
Imposed this heavy tariff to protect its domestic furniture industry. By making Chinese furniture parts more expensive, the logic is that Russian manufacturers get a better shot at competing in the market, which revitalizes the local industry and strengthens their struggling economy. But why do this now? Well, the timing of this decision is very critical.
Are there also tariffs on exports? That's what basically a tariff is just a tax on exports. It's just I don't know why they have to make it more complicated, but yeah.
Russia and China have had a relative...
Bro, did you know that Russia wanted to join NATO, but the West denied them? Yes. I also understand that NATO promised Russia certain things and consistently lied. In fact, I don't think there's ever been a time where NATO told Russia something and then followed through on it and the benefit of Russia. So I understand Russia, like, I may not, you know what I mean? How could Russia join them? How could they join them? Because at the end of the day, it was saying the NATO was built for Russia or to stand against Russia. So yes, but after everything was said and done and it was established, and there was a point in time where they reached out and said, "Hey, join us," and all of this could be done. Granted, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing because now the way I look at NATO is like if we're looking at Star Wars, it seems like BRICS is like the rebellion, and NATO tends to be a part of the Empire. And I know that's just making it super simple, because not the Empire isn't totally corrupt, and the rebels aren't purely altruistic, but they made a Warsaw Pact, but that was a failure. I know about the Warsaw Pact, but that's about it. I know he uploaded a long ass podcast, the Sharm Sharma. I did, and we'll watch it.
Close economic relationship, so this move might seem surprising at first. However, there are several underlying reasons for this decision when you start to look at it closely. Firstly, there's the issue of economic pressure. Russia, like many countries, is looking to bolster its domestic industries, especially in light of its various economic challenges.
Just nerd rod. Instead of L-Rod, just nerd rod.
Including sanctions and a fluctuating global economy. As of January 2024, Russia has over 16,000 sanctions imposed by various...
Baba Elrod, I like that. He is dominant. Dude, Putin, I feel bad because I know in the comments I could already feel them in the YouTube section. They're like, stop pausing the fucking video. But when it comes to Putin, I don't know how I feel about Putin because I feel like I'm not allowed to say like I like him. And I don't know if I like him because he's done a lot of bad, a lot of killing. But I respect the fuck out of the man.
Various countries and organizations worldwide. These sanctions, which target individuals, companies, institutions, vessels, and planes, have cut 5% from Russia's economic growth over the past 2 years, according to the US Treasury. That's why Russia needs all the economic relief it can get. By imposing a high tariff on Chinese imports, Russia hopes to incentivize domestic production, potentially leading to job creation and economic growth. These new 55% tariffs are not the first restrictions to come this year either, with similar economic ambitions. In May 2024,
Putin and Modi are they respect each other? That's not surprising. That's actually not surprising. I didn't know that. I was actually kind of curious on the relationship of Modi and Putin as like two men, but that seems, you know, Putin has a badass image in Asian countries. Bro, real Americans can look over at him and see that this leader can grapple. He's a black belt. He spent time in the military. He loves Russia. Like, regardless of what you think, Putin is very pro-Russia and loves the Russian people and loves the Russian culture. I respect that.
Officials began considering measures to protect their domestic automotive industry. This was driven by concerns that the increasing number of Chinese car imports...
That's what I mean. Like, I know he's a badass, and I can't say that I like him because I don't agree with a lot of the things that he has done. But I respect the person who he is.
...imports was hurting local manufacturers. By October 2024, Russia officially announced an increase in the utilization fee for imported cars, which acts much like a tariff. What does this mean in practical terms? Essentially, the utilization fee is a type of environment...
Yeah, I don't know about this Adolf thing, but we can all agree that we go back in time and kill baby Adolf, kill baby Hitler. I get that he did this because he didn't get accepted into the art school, so maybe we just go back in time and let him be an artist and let him not become an activist, but, you know...
environmental tax that is applied to cars. By increasing this fee for Chinese cars, Russia's made these imports more expensive. This move is intended to encourage customers to buy locally made vehicles instead of imported ones. The rationale behind this was much like the logic from before. It was meant to protect the domestic industry, boost local production, and safeguard jobs. The higher fees...
That's what I mean. Like, I respect them, good or bad. I don't think he's a pushover. I don't put Putin and like the dictator of North Korea, what is it, Kim Jong-un? I don't put those two guys in the same category. I don't even put Xi Jinping and Putin on the same category, right? Like Modi, Putin, Trump, all of those guys love their fucking country.
These apply specifically to Chinese cars, making them less competitive in the Russian market. When questioned on why the move targeted China, experts explained that Chinese automakers have been rapidly increasing their market share in Russia, offering a wide range of affordable and attractive vehicles. By imposing higher tariffs, Russia's trying to level the playing field for its own manufacturers who struggle to compete with the lower prices of Chinese imports. China didn't make so much as a noise, and now, less than 2 months down the road, Russia's doubled down.
Literally, yeah.
Secondly, and most importantly, there's a strategic geopolitical element at play. Trade policies are often used as tools in broader geopolitical strategies. By imposing this tariff,
fat
Russia
little
might be
vampire.
seeking to negotiate better trade terms with China, or assert
What did I say, guys? He is going to look for better negotiations for China. Whenever you hear tariffs, I just think negotiations. It's just politicians playing the negotiation game once more. I will impose a 55% tariff. That's a big 100% tariff. 100%. You read that right. So what are you going to offer us so that we don't have to impose this? 'Cause I agree, that's crazy. Don't force my hand, China.
its economic sovereignty. There are already several issues that are pending between the two economic giants that need hashing out, and it seems that this will be a card
Honestly, the movie, The Interview, is how I view him in terms of Kim. It's sad that I do too. That's exactly how I view him.
that Russia plays to its advantage. We'll be getting into that in a few minutes. For now, let's talk more about the unexpected economic impact that will arise from this tariff. It's not like it will just fly
Hey,
unnoticed under the
Sleepy Joe's last few countdowns in the country is on. Yeah, he already took a vacation. He said, "Oh, it's the last few weeks. Let's go on a vacation. I would like a nap in front of the beach."
radar.
Sleepy
Starting
Joe.
with Russia, it's clear that this hefty tariff will have both positive and negative effects on the Russian
Yeah.
economy. On the positive side, this move could provide a significant boost to Russia's domestic furniture industry. By making imported Chinese parts more expensive, local manufacturers gain a competitive edge. This could lead to increased production,
vibing
higher
today.
sales,
We
and
vibing.
potentially more jobs in the industry. In turn, this could stimulate economic growth and reduce unemployment in the sector. This is especially important as the Russian furniture industry has been in big trouble lately. Chinese furniture parts have dominated the Russian market, with imports estimated at around $1.3 billion annually, all while Russia's furniture industry is grappling with a sharp decline.
Bro, Putin and Modi came from nothing. That's why you like them. Once more, you gotta respect them. I like granted. Now I actually am a fan of Modi. I like Modi. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't, to my knowledge, he hasn't killed any reporters, done any internal assassinations. You know, I like that stuff. You like Adolf? Oh
Decline in
shit.
consumer
Well,
demand.
you might be timed out here soon if you keep that up.
And due to rising inflation, reduced household
I will let you have your opinion, but let's just keep that one to ourselves.
purchasing power, and changing market dynamics. However, as wonderful as it seems, there are also potential drawbacks to consider. One major concern is the reality of retaliatory measures from China. Trade wars often escalate, with countries imposing tariffs on each other's goods in a tit-for-tat manner. If China decides to impose its own tariffs on Russian goods, this could harm other sectors in the Russian economy that rely on exports to China. This would be especially bad given there's a lot of resilience from China at the moment, a fact I'll expand on in a few minutes. Moreover, higher tariffs can lead to increased production costs for Russian manufacturers who rely on imported Chinese parts. This could result in higher prices for consumers and potentially lower profit margins for businesses. That's why some Russian industry leaders are unhappy with this move. Alex Shestakov, owner of the First Furniture Factory, said in a statement regarding this tariff imposition, "We risk seeing the closure of dozens of factories and thousands of job losses in the coming months. It's a delicate balance, and the long-term impact will depend on how both countries navigate this complex situation. Turning our focus to China, the impact of this tariff is equally significant. Chinese exporters who rely heavily on the Russian market will likely feel the pinch. The increased cost of their products due to the tariff could lead to a decline in sales, affecting their revenues and profitability. The furniture industry in China is substantial, and many businesses have built their operations around
Not 2x. I can barely keep up with this now.
exporting to various global markets, including Russia. As of 2024, the revenue in China's furniture market amounts to
What do we think of politicians? Evil.
$88.41 billion,
The dark side of humans.
with growth projections of 7.
But in all honesty, most politicians probably go into politicians to do good for their communities, right? So it's like a double-edged sword.
7.68% between now and 2029. The 55% tariff that Russia's imposed represents a considerable barrier, making it much more challenging for these businesses to compete. This could result in reduced production, layoffs, and financial strain for affected companies. This will no doubt be a problem for Beijing, as the furniture industry is a significant part of China's economy. The industrial sector, which includes furniture manufacturing, contributed 31.7% to China's GDP in 2023. So its contributions are regarded as valuable to the nation, hence any decrease in business will be noticeable to the nation's bottom line. Also, given that China's the world's largest furniture producer and exporter, it's safe to say that the furniture industry plays a substantial role in China's global leadership ambitions. It's almost impossible that Beijing will take this Russian act lying down, potentially setting the stage for trade conflict between these two giants. Bringing it back to a grassroots level, the effects of this tariff extend beyond just the businesses involved and right back to the consumers. Ironically, Russian consumers in particular are likely to feel the impact in their wallets. With the cost of Chinese furniture parts rising due to the tariffs, prices for finished furniture products are also expected to increase. This means that consumers in Russia may have to pay more for their furniture, affecting household budgets and overall spending. Higher furniture prices could lead to
Fizzler, I don't know what you just said. What did you just call me? You just say I'm ugly and I smell like feet?
reduced consumer spending in other areas, potentially impacting the broader
I probably agree with the first part, but I don't smell like feet.
economy. Additionally, the reduced availability of affordable imported furniture could limit consumer choices. This could force consumers to settle for lower quality products or pay a premium for higher quality items. It's a ripple effect that highlights the interconnectedness of global trade and its direct impact on everyday life. It's no wonder then that furniture industry leaders and associations in both Russia and China have voiced their opinions on this tariff, and their reactions are mixed. In Russia, some domestic manufacturers welcome the move, seeing it as an opportunity to strengthen the local market and reduce dependency on imports. They believe that this tariff will give them the competitive edge they need to thrive. However, some other industry experts and business associations have expressed concerns about the potential long-term effects. They worry that increased production costs and potential retaliatory measures from China could create more challenges for the industry. Additionally, some businesses that rely on imported Chinese parts for their production processes may face difficulties in sourcing affordable alternatives. Alexander Shestakov, president of AMDPR, said in another statement that condemned the move, "Such a strong increase in duties could lead to the bankruptcy of many importers of furniture components and an inevitable rise in the price of domestic furniture by at least 15%. In China, the reaction's been largely negative, as expected. Exporters and industry leaders view the tariff as a significant barrier to their business operations. Expressing his frustration on the matter, Du Wan, a columnist for NetEase News, said, "If such actions had come from the United States, positive energy experts would have long condemned it as doomed hegemonic behavior. Yet in the face of Russia's ruthless measures, they remain silent, spineless as jellyfish. Many have called on the government to take action to protect their interests and negotiate with Russia to reduce or eliminate the tariff. A lot of Chinese businesses are unhappy and are viewing Russia's actions as traitorous. Let me explain why. Before moving forward, I want to share that I'm tired of seeing ads everywhere I go. I mean, how many ads has YouTube shown you on this video alone?
I mean, you're showing me an ad right now.
That's why we launched a newsletter a few years ago called Global Recaps. We've been saying war has had ripple effects, causing other countries to reconsider their trade policies and alliances. It's possible that in a bid to try and cozy up to the new Trump administration, Russia has imposed this tariff to show that they can be a friend to the West, something that Putin desperately
You guys are out of pocket.
needs. It's estimated that between the sanctions and the war, Russia's losing $10 billion a day. It comes as no surprise then that with a new president coming in, Russia might be looking at softening those relationships so it can find a respectable way out, even if it means stepping on China's toes just a little bit. By playing nice with the US, Putin
Omni, I swear, you and Scotty are going to start dating one day. You're giving him love and he's not even here right now.
could clearly be looking to diversify his economy and reduce dependency on any single trade partner, as that equally places him in trouble. When you keep that in mind, it then makes sense why Russia would impose heavy tariffs on
I currently, that's why you can't see my other hand right now. You don't know what it's doing.
China before even Trump himself has. Though all this could indeed be speculative rumors or just frustrations being vented out, there is some merit in them. After all, it seems in the world of geopolitics, nations are constantly seeking
Russia's a
alternative
beautiful
markets
country,
and
yeah.
strategies to mitigate their economic
Russia does look like a beautiful country with some really cool architecture.
fallout. Speaking of alternative markets, as Chinese exporters grapple with the effects of the tariff, finding alternative markets becomes a crucial strategy. Diversifying their market base away from Russia can help mitigate the impact of the tariff and ensure business continuity. One potential avenue is exploring opportunities in Southeast Asia. There, countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Thailand are known for their growing manufacturing.
I'm sorry guys, I may be retarded. I will admit this. But I was today years old when I realized Thailand was next to Vietnam. I literally thought Thailand was like an island.
Sector and favorable trade agreements.
I thought like Thailand was like maybe like this part of Indonesia and like maybe right here.
And would make
But then what is this?
for more than capable markets. They have growing economies and increasing demand for various products, including furniture. By establishing trade relationships with these countries, Chinese exporters can offset the loss in the Russian market and tap into new revenue streams. Another possibility is expanding into African markets.
That's Malaysia? Yeah, I literally had them backwards.
many African countries are experiencing economic growth and urbanization, leading
God,
to
I'm so
increased
dumb.
demand for consumer goods, including furniture. By targeting these markets, Chinese exporters can diversify their customer base and reduce their reliance on any single market. Additionally, enhancing trade relationships with other major economies, such as the European Union or India, could provide new opportunities for Chinese businesses. Simply put, China has several economic strategies in place to expand its influence and create new markets for its products. One of the most ambitious is the Belt and Road Initiative. Launched in 2013 by President Xi Jinping, the BRI aims to develop trade routes and infrastructure projects across Asia, Europe, and Africa. By
Pep, you knew Thailand was next to Vietnam?
investing in infrastructure and fostering trade links, China hopes to create new economic opportunities and strengthen its global influence for situations exactly like this. It's a deterrent against ever being cut off, and even when their closest allies betray them, as we're seeing now, it means President Xi got something right. The imposition of the tariff by Russia might push
Oh my god. Hello, my name is Elliot. I am slightly retarded, and my favorite color is clear. And I just learned that Thailand is next to Vietnam.
China to accelerate its efforts under the BRI and seek stronger ties with other regions. This could involve investing more in infrastructure projects in Africa and Latin America particularly, where demand for Chinese products might be growing. While these markets may present their own challenges, diversifying trade partnerships can help mitigate the risks associated with tariffs and trade conflicts. With this current situation out of the way, we have to wonder how we got here. The only way we can fully understand the significance of the seemingly abrupt 55% tariff is to look at the historical trade relations between Russia and China. What many may not know is that these two countries share a long history of economic interaction, characterized by periods of cooperation and conflict. In the early 20th century, trade between Russia and China was limited, primarily due to political and ideological differences. However, as
I had Mr. Long back at Otwell days in 7th grade, Pep. I had Mr. Long, and I guess I just wasn't paying attention. Shit.
both countries underwent significant political changes, their trade relations began to evolve. The establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949 and the Soviet Union's support played a crucial role in shaping their early economic interactions. During the Cold War era, Russia, then
He was something else.
the Soviet Union, and China had a complex relationship, marked by both cooperation and rivalry. While they were initially aligned as communist allies,
I actually vividly remember you hating him and us having conversation along the years. Like anytime we talk about school, Pep, you're like, that guy was racist as fuck.
ideological differences and geopolitical tensions led to a split in their relationship. Despite these challenges, trade between the two countries continued, though with fluctuations in volume and intensity.
Well, yeah, because they're always going to be trading because they're just politicians just negotiating deals.
Post-Cold War period, Russia and China have
And
sought
unfortunately, the people are the ones who have to pay for it. When politicians and shit make deals and create conflict and whatnot and animosity, it's the people that have to deal with this. The government just sees it as paper and numbers on an Excel spreadsheet.
to rebuild and strengthen their economic ties. Several key milestones have marked this period of cooperation. For example, in 2001, the two countries signed the Treaty of Good
Am I right, Elliot? You seem a bit dyslexic. Bro, I am dyslexic. I'm retarded. I got a lot of debuffs going through life, right? It's not like I go through life with just only buffs. I got a lot of debuffs working for me. Retarded, dyslexic, normal sized dick,
good neighborliness and friendly cooperation, which laid the foundation for closer economic and political relations. This treaty emphasized mutual respect, non-interference in each other's internal affairs, and cooperation in various fields, including trade and investment. Over the years, Russia and China have also signed numerous trade agreements and joint ventures, further solidifying their economic partnership. These have only become more numerous as the world has alienated Russia, throwing it into China's arms. These agreements have facilitated the exchange of goods, services, and investments, contributing to the growth of bilateral trade. The key sectors of cooperation
She's like, yeah, it's a good size.
that most of these treaties have focused on include energy, infrastructure, technology, and manufacturing. However, it's important
She said, oh, wow, look at that. That's nice.
to note that while Russia and China have enjoyed periods of cooperation, their trade relationship has not been without conflicts. Throughout history, there have been several instances of trade disputes and tensions between the two countries. One notable example is the dispute over tariffs and trade imbalances in the early 2000s. At that time, Russia imposed tariffs on certain Chinese goods, citing concerns about unfair trade practices and market imbalances. This led to tensions between the two countries, with China responding by imposing its own tariffs on Russian products. The conflict highlighted the challenges of maintaining a balanced and fair trade relationship, even among strategic partners. Another significant trade conflict occurred in the mid-2000s, when Russia implemented restrictions on Chinese agricultural imports. This move was driven by concerns over food safety and quality standards. The restrictions led to protests from Chinese exporters and strained trade relations between the two countries. Eventually, through negotiations and diplomatic efforts, the issue was resolved, and trade in agricultural products resumed. It seems a theme of Russia being the first to impose tariffs is emerging here. Also, we're seeing that China does not take these situations lying down, but rather it retaliates. This makes the present situation more of a problem, as a trade war would be imminent were China to act according to character. The more you look at this, the more you realize the fragility of this situation, which is much like a boiling pot about to blow its lid off.
It definitely does feel like it is. The world feels like a boiling pot that is about to have its lid blown off.
The problem with China retaliating, however, is that Russia simply cannot afford a war with China right now. In the wake of extensive international sanctions, Russia has increasingly turned to China as one of its few remaining reliable partners.
Why was Japan highlighted in that? Did you guys saw that?
Given that major economies like Australia, Canada, Norway, Japan, the United States, the EU, and the United Kingdom have since imposed bans on Russian goods because of the war in Ukraine, and this economic and political isolation has driven Russia to seek closer ties with Beijing. Because of this, bilateral trade between Russia and China has surged, with trade volumes more than doubling since 2020. In 2023, trade
So they have more trade volumes?
with China accounted for approximately 1/3 of Russia's total trade. Russia's exports to China, primarily consisting of 107 million metric tons of crude petroleum worth $51 billion, coal briquettes worth $9.64 billion, and petroleum gas worth $9.5 billion, have
What is a briquette? Someone in the chat who's smarter than I am. Can someone explain what that is?
seen an annualized
Is this just like unrefined coal?
growth rate of 19.1% over the past 5 years. Conversely, China's exports to Russia, including broadcasting equipment worth $4.11 billion, computers worth $2.59 billion, and large construction vehicles worth $1.71 billion, have also grown significantly. This increase in trade only increases Moscow's dependency on Beijing, making them invaluable. The partnership extends beyond trade. China's become a crucial source of technology and investment for Russia. Amidst the sanctions, Russia has faced severe shortages in semiconductors and other key components, forcing it to rely on Chinese imports. Though this could prove to be a challenge in the future, given the bans that the US has imposed on such goods. Plus, Chinese investments in Russian infrastructure have been a big help. These investments in Russian infrastructure projects have been crucial in providing a much-needed economic lifeline for Russia, especially in the wake of international sanctions. These investments have focused on several key areas. For instance, Chinese investments have helped upgrade railway border crossings and modernize the cargo port at Vladivostok. These upgrades are essential for handling the increased trade volumes between the two countries. In logistics and shipping, Chinese companies have invested in firms like RTSB RUS, which ships cargo by rail across Russia. This has helped alleviate some of the pressure on Russia's logistics network, which has been strained by the surge in trade with China. While energy cooperation remains the backbone of Sino-Russian relations, Chinese investments have also supported the expansion of Russian exports by improving infrastructure. This includes projects like the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and the Crimea Bridge, which have received significant Chinese investment. Additionally, Chinese investments have focused on regional projects that are less headline-grabbing but crucial for easing bottlenecks in Russia's infrastructure. These projects include upgrading storage sites, increasing shipping container availability, and improving equipment at receiving depots. These investments have been instrumental in helping Russia pivot its trade focus towards Asia, especially after losing access to European markets. This collaboration between China and Russia in infrastructure projects has not only strengthened their economic ties, but also provided Russia
I just look over the chat. All I see is coal briquette equals Bobby's balls.
with the necessary support to maintain its trade operations amidst global challenges. In the energy sector, China's really ramped up its imports of Russian crude oil lately, and it's a big deal. In 2023, China imported a record 2.1 million barrels per day of crude oil from Russia. That's a huge chunk of their total oil imports, about 19%. What makes this even more interesting
Chat has become skibbity.
is that Russia's been offering this oil at discounted prices, thanks to the sanctions and price caps imposed by the G7. Beijing has taken its own path and ignored the international community, seeing this as an opportunity to build up its oil reserves. It's safe to say that Chinese refiners are taking full advantage of these lower prices to cut costs and improve their refining margins. You can't blame them, though. For the country that imports the most crude oil in the
for
world,
sure.
the discounts on Russian oil make it an attractive option for China, even as they continue to get oil from other places like Saudi Arabia and the United States. By doing this, China not only ensures a stable supply of oil, but also helps support Russia's economy during these tough times with sanctions. What all this shows us is that Russia can't really afford a trade war with China right now. The economic impact would simply be too huge to bear. China wouldn't want to sour their economic ties, as they're benefiting a lot. China's firmly Russia's biggest trading partner, with trade reaching $240 billion in just last year alone. The issues in this relationship would affect China, but they hit the Russian economy like a truck. That's why this recent 55% tariff on Chinese furniture parts has already caused problems and raised concerns among Russian business leaders, and most fear souring the relations. Moreover, Russia's economy is already under a lot of pressure due to the sanctions and the ongoing conflict. A trade war with China would make things worse, isolating Russia Russia even more from global markets and making it harder to get the resources and technology it needs. While Russia is trying to build trade relationships with other countries like India and Turkey, these efforts haven't made up for the loss of trade with Western countries. A trade war would also hurt the strong partnership Russia's been building with China. They've been working together in areas like energy, defense, and infrastructure. Starting a trade war would needlessly damage this cooperation and the trust between the two nations. This intertwined relationship is a perfect example of how geopolitics and economics often go hand in hand.
If you're picking up what I'm putting down, then please like the video, subscribe, and if you really like it, then share it with some of your friends. My goal here is to spread a positive message while sprinkling my 2 cents on big topics like American, Indian, and world geopolitics, and even small stuff like Twitch drama and online debacles. And if you want to see it live, come join me over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ActuallyElrod. That's where I'm going to do all my reactions, and after the reactions, that's where we get down a game. And if you're like, hey, I have a video that I want this dude to sprinkle his 2 cents on, then come over on my Discord and let me know and join the community there. And while we're at it, I have to say thank you to everybody who has made that Discord just so poppin'. I never thought I'd have a Discord that's so flowing. It's really cool to see. Shout out to you, Bobby, Omni, Demon, all of you who have been in there who are just super active. Logie, you're the man. Logie is the one who's like modding and helping run the server, so thank you, Logie. Lastly, I challenge you. I have a challenge for you. Make somebody laugh today. We all know there's enough hate and vitriol in the world. If energy is contagious like the flu, then let's spread and get everyone contagious with our positive energy, right? Not negative energy, because there's so much of that. And if we could just be a small little change in someone's day, then you never know. Maybe that's the thing that starts shifting this world to a happier, healthier, just better place. And with all of that said and done, thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.